did not ask me a question earlier, and you have a question or two, I can answer. Yes. That's all you wanted.
Mike, please. Thank you. All right. I think we do have one journalist that would like to recognize, and these people are going to do a lot of work for you here. He's based out in San Francisco. He's going to introduce himself and maybe have one question before we start with the panelists.
Hi, my name is Larry Rosen. I am the producer and host of a show called The Enemies Project, where I bring enemies together, not for debate, but for a day of deep conversation. My view is that tribalism is tearing our world apart, and it's driving people, tribes against each other is how certain people rise to power, economically, politically, and in the media. My understanding is that within Kenya, there are tribes that have traditionally been deeply opposed, and that there's been an effort to bring them back together. And I plan to probably host an episode where there are two Kenyans, ordinary people, where I help them see that the person on the other side could be them, that they are not opposed, they are the same person. My question for you is, what do you think about the role of tribalism in Kenyan politics and how it might support corrupt leadership?
Thank you very much. Ethnicity is part of the Kenyan politics because Kenya has 41 different ethnic communities, people who speak different languages, and people have their unique challenges and their unique way of looking at things. But we have made very serious strides in terms of bridging the gap between communities when it comes to politics. For a long time, people have voted on ethnic grounds. But the last election of 2022, William Ruto, who is from the Rift Valley, was supported to a man by the people of the Mount Kenya region. In fact, his win, the Mount Kenya people contributed 47% of the vote, which meant that those people from that region are not tribal because they did not vote for one of their own. So it's a journey. Previously, the previous elections, everybody used to vote for a person from your own community. But the last election was a very big improvement on proving that you don't have to vote somebody from your own community. And when I listen to the people of Kenya as we speak today, they actually don't care who will be president. What is happening in Kenya now, the people want the current guy out. They don't care who will raise him. They are leaving it upon ourselves to agree on one person. So I think we have made huge strides in dealing with ethnicity and dealing with tribalism in matters national politics and in choosing a leader to lead the people of Kenya.
That must be very encouraging for you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll go ahead and shoot this back to the panelists, and they can lead me. I'm just going to be the moderator of passing the microphone. So I'll give this to Maurice and Dorothy. Take it away.
Your Excellency, it's a great honor to meet you. I follow you vividly. It feels like I know you personally. And I think the question in most people's mind is, we respect the vehicle that you have decided to use to pitch to the Mlima population. And I think most of us know your heart. You want to bring us together. You want us to act actively, but we're also having a very hard time convincing others that we are not tribal, but we are actively mobilizing so that we can effectively move forward as a team to get Ruto basically out of office. So give us an explanation of why you have used the Mulima vehicle to pitch for the next government.
Thank you very much. It's actually a misconception. The vehicle that we have is a national vehicle. It's not a Mulima vehicle, but the Mulima people are part of it. And it's only that they have many, and that has nothing to do with them. It's a decision by God in terms of numbers. Our party, I'm the party leader, I'm from Mulima. The deputy party leader, Cleos Malala, is from Kakamega. The national chairperson is from Kajiado. The national treasurer is from Machakos. The assistant national treasurer is from Migori. The deputy secretary general is from Kisumu. It's a national party with very serious following. In fact, we are confident we are going to win the Malava by-election in Kakamega. We are confident we'll win the Banisa by-election in Mandera. What has happened is that because the party is very popular, William Ruto and his people are trying to say the party is tribal. But the party cuts across Kenya because many Kenyans agree to our ideology and our perspective. And they can see we are very active in getting William Ruto out of office. And many Kenyans who want him out are aligning with us. So it's just a narrative that has been driven. And sometimes when people don't have the benefit of all the factors, they tend to think it is true. It's a national party. Myself, I've held very successful meetings outside the mountain. I did a 2-day incursion in Ukambani. I did another day in the Coast Province in Mombasa, in Kilifi and Kwale. I have done meetings in Kajiado. I have done meetings in Narok. I am planning to do meetings in Kisii. So we are a national party with the national leaders, and ours is a national cause for the people of Kenya. And it has nothing to do with Mulima. It's only that Mulima is part of our party. And the fact that Mulima is heavily populated, people know that a party where the Mulima is quite a strong party because of the numbers. In fact, William Ruto, his party, the UDA, only succeeded because Mulima was part of it. Once Mulima has left, UDA is a shell. So it's just the fear of our competitors that the movement we are, the national movement we are in, and Mulima is part of it, is too strong. So they must look for a way to demonize our party.
Thank you, Bona, Your Excellency. My name is Maurice Ndole, and I'm the Vice Chairman of KenPAC and also the proprietor for the Africana Voice. First of all, I want you to react to some breaking news. The Interior Cabinet Secretary in Kenya, Mr. Kipchumba Murkomen, has said that you will be arrested at JKIA if you come back because you've been telling Americans that Ruto has been having secret meetings with terrorists. What do you have to say to that? Does it mean that we're going to have you here for much longer than next week?
If the fear of arrest was part of my thinking, I'll never do anything. I'll just stay in the house. Every day they discuss me in parliament for 2 hours and say they will arrest me. I just move on. I am not a leader who buys fear. And as I have explained, I think Murkomen is lost. I am not the one who have launched investigations against William Ruto. It's the American Senate. Those issues were raised by the Americans, not myself. So I have nothing useful I can tell him. But if the Americans want me to assist in the investigations, I would, because that's where the investigation is. I am not aware of any investigation on William Ruto by the Kenyan police. Again, Kipchumba Murkomen has been telling us that the National Police Service is independent and they do not take instructions from anybody, including himself. How then can he purport to give instructions to the National Police Service at the same time say that the National Police Service is independent? When my day to go to Kenya is due, I'll announce the date,
Yes.
the hour, and the flight number.
Thank you very much.
So that whoever is interested in arresting me can go ahead and do it. And let me tell you, I was arrested many times before the new administration. I never changed my stand. In fact, it hardened my resolve. All those things they are doing, they are just hardening the resolve of our supporters, you know. And I want to tell them, you cannot use criminal justice system to suppress freedom of speech and expression. It's a very outdated practice that was tried by Moi. It cannot work. I don't think by him threatening that he can arrest me can make me not express what I need to. So I'll continue with what I'm doing. And if they want to arrest me, I am a Kenyan. The courts are there. They'll take me to court. I'll go there. And if they have any charges against me, they will prefer them. But as I am saying, I am not the problem in this matter. They know where those allegations have come from. They have come from here in the United States. I just pointed out and said, my friend, don't hide behind China. These are the questions the Americans are asking you. Why did you meet so and so? Why are you interfering here?
Yeah.
So they can go ahead and do what they want to do, but I want to confirm that I don't buy fear. I cannot be intimidated by anybody, and that is me. And that Mokome knows me. He knows what my stand is.
Yes.
He does.
Thank you very much. So at this point, we want to welcome. So some housekeeping here. We will do some questions from the audience. The time is really spent. So if you have a question, just go and grab the mic over there. We'll ask one more question, two more questions from the panel, and then you guys can start asking questions so that we can involve the audience as well.
And just to let you guys know, we ran a little bit late on the program, so we are going to try and get a few questions from the audience.
Thank you very much, and I'll try to make it as short as possible. But the first thing, I do thank you for giving us the information you've just given us. But then I do remember that it's said that the past do make today, and today influences our future. And I remember what Mr. Kingori said as the chairman. He gave us the history of Kenya post-independence all the way to Kibaki. But then my question to you is this. When did you realize that what Uhuru Kenyatta was telling you about Ruto was actually true, having been Uhuru's personal assistant? And then why did you not follow Uhuru's warning as to what was going to happen? Your insight into these two issues would help us move forward in a very, very intelligent way. And I'm one of the people who believe that psychophancy dulls the mind, and I don't believe in psychophancy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's true, in life we all make mistakes. I'm sure not every advice that you are given you take. Sometimes you take, sometimes you don't take. Sometimes you find advice you are given would have helped you better. But making a mistake is not an entirely bad thing. What is bad is repeating the same mistake. And I was not deceived alone. There were many of us, including many people in this hall, including bishops, pastors. You know, when a man comes with a Bible and says he is saved, and you are saved yourself, you are likely to agree with him. This man was very persuasive. He was extremely persuasive. And he gave us an undertaking that he has solutions to our country. And it's only when we went to government I realized it was a deception. And I disagreed with it. And I made a decision that I cannot agree with the way things were done. I cannot agree to corruption. I cannot agree to abductions. I cannot agree to extrajudicial killing. And everybody in Kenya now has known where the mistake was. So I was not alone in making that mistake. We were 7.2 million people. It cannot be just Rigathi Gachagua. 7.2 million people are very many people. All of us made that decision. And all the people of Kenya are crying because of that decision. But we cannot cry forever. We must wake up and correct the mistake, and that is what we are doing. And probably that is why I am quite active myself because I feel I have an obligation to correct the mistakes that I contributed to make in a very big way. I was very instrumental into that campaign. I did a lot of work to persuade people. I put in hard work. I did a lot of meetings. I have an obligation to the people of Kenya to do even much more than I did to correct the mistake and make sure that we store a new government that respects human rights and will practice good governance.
Thank you.
All right. We have an,
Just, let's take a question from the panel real quick.
we have this gentleman that was waiting, let him go first,
Yeah.
and then you can go back to the panel.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, thank you for giving me this opportunity to ask you a question. Oh, and I wrote my question down, so I'm going to read it through. Many Kenyans are eager to start businesses that solve local problems, create jobs, and contribute to the economy of Kenya. But we often face challenges with licensing, navigating regulations, and accessing government support. What steps in your government would you be taking to, make it faster, simpler, and more affordable for startups, especially those of us who live here in the diaspora, to start those businesses? And of course, and I am a broadcast engineer. I work here in San Francisco. A lot of tech companies, obviously, you've visited them. What can those of us who want to aspire to build those kind of companies back home, how to get us off the ground and, build to scale?
Thank you very much. In fact, you are spot on. It's true. Many investors have shied away from investing in Kenya because of the bureaucratic red tape, corruption, and impossible licensing mechanisms. I tried to deal with that matter as deputy president. I did ask the president to allow me to have a department in my office called International Development Partnerships. That section in my office was supposed to unlock all the challenges that hinder investment in our country. And I was trying to do a job on it, but there was too much interference. I want to give a commitment that I believe in free trade, and I believe in creating an atmosphere for ease to do business. We're gonna come with a very serious radical transformation on the way we do licensing in Kenya. I have many people who wanted to do energy projects, who wanted to start a solar producing plant, wind plant, but getting a license that the Kenya Power will agree to buy your product, the energy you are producing into the national grid, is next to impossible. It will take 5-6 years, and many investors will give up. So I am well appraised of the sorry state of affairs in terms of creating an environment that is conducive for people to have startups, for people to come and start doing some business in Kenya. So that is a commitment that I want to give. And again, this kind of engagement helps because it will give you an opportunity to get a feedback. So when we put those measures to make it easy for people to do business in Kenya, through such forums, you'll be able to get a feedback and you become a better leader. Every day you go improving because you have a mechanism where people are telling you whether what you are putting in place is working or not. So that is a commitment I want to give.
Back to the panel.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. So yesterday, Google and Meta, these are some of the most valuable companies in the world, actually in the history of the world. What were your biggest takeaways, and how would you translate the lessons from the policies into your policies to foster change in Kenya?
I had a very memorable day at Google and at Meta, and my take home was the ease of running an organization. It's a guy called Gachagua who took us around there in Meta. The company has created an atmosphere. People are just working. There are no formalities. There is no yes sir, There's nothing. People just working, and people are given, they are given an environment to be creative, to be innovative, and to be their very best. And that was my take home, that once we form government, that's the kind of situation that I want to encourage. You know, that guys can come to cabinet, dress the way they want, make their own coffee, come with an Uber, go and live in a flat, come and do what they need to do and go home, without having to bed when I enter, because the kind of atmosphere we have in Kenya, my friend, it's difficult to be productive. There's so much fear. Like in cabinet, the guy's just there and everybody must bow. It's like worshiping a god. And everybody must say, yes, sir. And you must, before you say something, you must think of what he is likely to think. There's too much fear so that people stop thinking. So what I saw yesterday, that business module, was very impressive. And that's the way I would like to run government, where it's easy, allowed to say what they want and to give ideas, to criticize. Again, I was about the utilization of young people in production. I saw young people, and I know in our country we have an abundance of human resource among our young population. I intend to give those people a chance to contribute to the development of their country. And I want the young people, the Gen Zs and the millennials, to be my very serious partners in government.
I think I will ask the last question, and I will address this question to Pastor Dorcas. Pastor Dorcas, your initiative, I'm a mother of two boys, 18-year-old and 15-year-old, and we definitely applaud your initiative of the boy child. So we want to ask you, as the women in the diaspora, how can we partner with you?
Thank you very much, and I think that is a question. My heart now rejoices to imagine that you want to partner to be able to help the boy child. I must tell you that the boy child crisis and the boy child question must be addressed with urgency. It's a crisis that is not only in Kenya, but also in the whole world. The boy child, as they sit, they are the seed carriers. Every mother would want to have a boy who grows up, becomes a father, becomes a leader, becomes a protector, because they are, and the covering of families. But today we have very many who are in the gutter, people who are depressed, they are lost. What the women can do today, because mothers, we have a responsibility and we are accountable to bringing divine alignment and validating the dreams of our children. That's why they are everywhere, being shot in the leg, being shot in the head. We need to come together and see how we can be able to raise funds to be able to rehabilitate those children, and also have civic education for preventive, because when we were working, as we do the rehabilitation, we found that some of the people who are the drug barons and all that, they have established shops and areas of selling these drugs near schools. And our children, as they are going there in standard 1, in standard 4, and university, the secondary schools are having to come across all this. It is so easily accessed. And therefore, what you can help me, when you come, it would be good you volunteer to go to the schools and to the universities to go and speak to these young men and also women who are in universities, in colleges, and in the primary schools, so that they will not get into that space and they will know how to not to abuse substance and brews and illicit brews and all that. The other one is you can raise money. We do the rehabilitation for the ones who are lost. We have the Rigathi Foundation that is doing this work. Of course, we were doing the same even when we were in office. And if you can be able to adopt a boy, where we take them to the rehabilitation center, which also skills them. By the time they leave, they are either experts in plumbing, electricals. If you can be able to adopt a boy, that one man who comes from the streets gets into the rehabilitation center, which we are calling the health villages, so that when they come in there, they come and find an environment where they can be able to be skilled, and by the time they leave, they don't go back to the street, they go to work. Empowerment programs. And I'm also sure some of you who are in the health sector can be coming and volunteering in this rehabilitation to help rehabilitate our children. That is one of the greatest desire, and I believe it is possible for you to do that.
Thank you very much.
Can you take just one more from the audience, the last one?
Yeah, let's do one more from the audience.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Stanley Mbogwa. My wife Judy and I are friends. We live in the Silicon Valley 20 years. My wife and I have made major investments in oil and gas in Kenya. In Nakuru, that's where we come from. And we've employed dozens of people. Our biggest worry is these last few protests. They almost brought us down because our neighbors and supermarket neighbors were attacked. And the last few weeks, we've just been investing money on roller shutters and steel grills. And my worry is, I know we talk one term, but my concern is on day one, once leadership changes, the people you are up against are not going to go quietly. And coming from the Rift Valley, we've seen the brunt of this violent protest, and we are very concerned that and wondering what's your plan, because that's a big opposition, especially if you don't have the numbers in the National Assembly to stand up against them, because they're going to come back in full force. There will be your opposition. Mokomen will not go just down quietly. They're going to fight back. And my question is, what are your plans to make sure that you would have a stable government and protect against whatever may be planned? Because when they start saying they're stealing votes, etc., unless the win is really decisive, they're going to come back strongly. So that's my question to you. Thank you.
Very much, and I'm sorry about the challenges that you are undergoing back home on your businesses. It's happening everywhere because the Gen Z protests were very genuine. And when the government found that the Gen Zs are becoming a very serious force, they recruited goons, criminal gangs, to go to the streets and fight the Gen Zs under police supervision. But on the 7th, they changed tack. They sent the same criminals under police guard to attack businesses so that they can sell fear to business people, so that the business people could tell the Gen Z, please stop these protests, because if you continue, our businesses are going to be finished. It was a strategy to sell fear, especially to the people of the mountain region, because they are business people. Destroy their businesses, ban the supermarkets, cause mayhem, so that the business community could say, oh, no. I think much as Ruto is bad, for the sake of our businesses, let him just continue doing whatever he's doing so that we preserve our investment. That was a strategy. But of course, it backfired very badly because people knew that all those attacks were done by goons hired and supervised by government. Whatever little support that was remaining in that area is now gone. He is below 2% in terms of actual support. Don't worry about the new government and how stable it will be. My brother, from where I sit, listening to the people of Kenya, the win will be so decisive. In fact, it will be an improvement of 202. You know, 202 was such a movement that even Uhuru Kenyatta went to Serena and accepted defeat and nobody went to court. This one, the win will even be higher, and there will be many members of parliament and senate on our side, beyond 2/3, because that is the mood in the country, so that we have a very, very stable government, so that we don't have to look for anybody for handshake. And that handshake, Mzee, we have told him we are through with him. Let him have the last handshake, it's over. We are going to have a big win that is over 70% plus one, so that the win is so decisive that nobody can even challenge it, and we have enough numbers in parliament, in senate, to allow us to govern. That I want to give you that promise, because I take time to listen to the people of Kenya. I have contacts across, and I'm very objective. I don't like praise and worship. I don't want people to tell me what I want to hear. I listen even to negative things, because it's important that you do, you know. And that is why the other day I was in Batmore. There was a young Gen Z who asked me a questions that looked from the face of it like it's harsh. And our critics back home were so overjoyed that somebody is asking me a question that looks harsh. But I was very happy, because I don't want praise and worship sessions here in the US. If I want praise and worship session, I go to church. I listen there. You see, the state in our country, nobody asks William Ruto anything. So when that girl was asking me what they thought is a harsh question, they were very excited, because at home everybody has been suppressed. The meetings are one-man show. In fact, today, yesterday, I think Saturday, William Ruto called some people in State House, some young people, many, 3 a.m. They were there, there was soda, there was rice, and they were not allowed to say anything. But they were there because they want the money, and we told them, when money is available, you go and take. The minute they left the gate and got into the vehicle, they started singing one time, recording videos and releasing. Yeah, that is the situation in Kenya. And also what has happened, luckily for us, because William Ruto is stealing a lot of money for politics. People around him are also now. You know, when people know you are a thief and you are dealing with stolen money, and you are giving it to them to do work for you, they also steal from you. So they had told him that they are expecting 10,000 young people. They brought 4,000. But he had given them money for 10,000, 20 million. Each young man was getting 2,000. So they came 4,000. So each was sent money by M-Pesa, 2,000. 4,000 people, that is 8 million. Ruto akanyolewa milioni 12 na hao wajumbe. Anyolewa sinyolewe. Anyolewa sinyolewe. Because that is what is happening. And I can tell you, these MPs are telling us in confidence, we know this man is going home. Lakini kwani tutawacha ng'ombe ikufe na maziwa? Kwani tutasika ndovu na pembe? People around him are just milking him money. And the more desperate he gets, the more money he releases, the more money is stolen. Even this money for empowerment, he is stealing from government to give the women groups. They go, they give Soprano, he gives 10 million. But the money is never given to the groups directly. It is left with the member of parliament. Then the member of parliament will look for a few groups, like 40 groups, and he give them 100,000 each. That is 4 million. Anaenda na milioni 6. Kasongo anyolewa zinyolewe. That is what is happening. Everybody, you know, when you head an organization, you are a thief. All the people below you will steal from you. Whatever you have stolen, now wanakuibia. So that is what is happening in Kenya. So don't worry, my friend. We have the numbers. We'll have a very decisive win. We'll have good numbers in the Senate and the National Assembly to make sure that we have a stable government and we are able to run the country comfortably and peacefully.
All right. I'm a little embarrassed because we didn't have any of the ladies ask a question, and they'll fight me after this if I don't let one more lady, at least one lady. Is that okay, Your Excellency?
Hello, everybody. My name is Nyambura. I'm from Kiamba constituency in Kiambu, and I'm one worried person because this government is very suspicious, and when I heard that they are going to remove Kiambu from Mount Kenya region, I don't know what they are planning to do. Maybe Your Excellency, you know, you can give me a heads up on that. But my question is, I was very happy when the government started the system of education where you can trace a child from kindergarten all the way with the NEMIS number. But now when the government does not support the education, then that doesn't have a meaning. So I don't know what you're planning to do about that. And when I talk about education, you see like every other small town, there is a university. Is to do what? You know? Because when the government allows that, why are you graduating people and you don't have jobs for them? So I don't know what you're going to do, because I had the privilege to teach at the University of Nairobi, and I used to feel for the students, because you have a whole hall like this, because these kids, they don't know, they don't have anything to do. So they say, wacha niongeze MBA, nione kama nitapata job. So they become even more unmarketable, because you have an overqualified person with no experience looking for a job. The other thing is about the government. I'm very happy to hear you talk about Aupendi praise and worship, because what I've seen leaders do is if you have something which can assist the masses, like this program, I had the privilege to do that paper about the internship and government attachments, because at least that was a fallback position for these people who are coming from the universities and colleges to get experience. But now when you get a government which doesn't have the will at heart to support that, and you see this, the government bringing it as a presidential directive or a session paper, it is never taken to the parliament as a bill so that it can be affirmed as law to help the people. So what are you going to do differently? Because for posterity, you know, for posterity, because these are people who are coming from the education system into the job market, and the market is not there for the jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Nyambura. I spent my early days in Kiamba. I was a DO there in Banana. I'm quite conversant with that area. And it's true, there are some MPs there from Kiambu. They are being called by people Togege, including your MP, Kawanjiku. William Ruto was elected president because the mountain backed him, and he knows the power of that vote of the mountain. His whole vote, he got 47% from the mountain. Now that he has confirmed that the mountain is through with him, he wanted to divide that vote to render it useless. So he wanted to divide Mount Kenya East and West. East is Embu and Meru and Tharaka Nithi, and West is the rest of the former Central Kenya, which I stopped him. I could not allow him to do it. And the people of Meru, Embu have vowed they will never agree to be divided, because that vote is useless unless it is one. So after he failed to get Meru and Embu to be part of the mountain, he has now told those MPs from Kiambu, I think the one called Wamashukuru, the one called Kagombe, the one called Kururia. You can hear the names the way they are. Those are the problem we are having in that region. People Ruto uses to divide the people, but the people of Kiambu have refused. In fact, I'm told they had to block their comment section because of the kind of abuses that were coming from the people. I want to assure you, the people of Kiambu are solid. They cannot agree to be divided by those fellows. Education, it is true, things were going on very well. But the president has decided this money for education to take it and give it to Soprano to go and bribe people. That is why there is no competition. That is why there is no money for running our schools. Again, that is why we are saying one term, because this guy is a problem. And I have said the problem is his advisors have not gone to school. One of his advisors is a standard 3 dropout. The other one is a standard 6 dropout. They are the ones who are advising that education is useless. There is no need to spend money on education. Just get the money, give Soprano to go and bribe voters, then you are elected. That's the kind of advice the president is having. And unfortunately, he takes that kind of advice. That is why we must remove him and restore the free primary education that was initiated by Mwai Kibaki by making sure there is enough money to run our schools. Collapse all the various bursaries and channel that money directly to the schools to support our children. And education is an equalizer. It is critical that government spends money to develop our children, and that is a commitment that I want to give, that we're gonna do to make sure that we have restored our education system and things are working. Again, it's true, we have too many mushrooming universities that are necessary. We need to build the universities that are existing and make them have quality programs so that we can spend money in selected universities so that they offer quality university education. Again, these are things that we're gonna do because we will be listening the way I've listened to you, so that all the concerns the Kenyans people are having, we listen the way we are listening, we internalize them, and we turn them into programs and policies. And thank you very much. I think you're in Atosha, Sindio.
Yes, you're in Atosha. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, and thank you very much, Pastor Dorcas. And thank you. Oh, too much feedback. And thank you to you guys for coming. I mean, I know it was a short notice. We've only been planning this for less than a month, and we had a good turnout. There was a lot of support from the community.